Hockey coach in program history. Duluth is a special city. Obviously, growing up in Moose Lake, I'm very aware of what hockey means. Even being a basketball guy per se, growing up and playing that. Since I've taken over as the athletic director at St. Scholastica, I've gained a understanding of what hockey means not only to the youth in the area, but to the city of Duluth, to our players, to everybody around the College of St. Scholastica. So it's a very special day as we have found what we believe is the right person to move us forward. We'll get to the search process in just a minute, but there are a few people I'd like to thank before we introduce Coach Madsen. I'd like to thank our entire cabinet here at the College of St. Scholastica. Cabinet is our senior administration team, including Dr. Geary and Mr. Steve Lyons, who have helped make our campus a destination for employees. I would also like to thank them for being so supportive during this search. Thank you to the search committee, our athletic staff members, CSS faculty and staff, some of who are present here today, and there's way too many to name who are a part of this process. I'd also like to thank our alumni and the Duluth community members for all of their help in helping find our next head coach. I'd also like to recognize Coach Sean Bartlett as his work as an interim head coach the past few months in what was a tough situation, but he did it admirably and he did a great job. And we're excited as how he represents our department and the College of St. Scholastica. So Sean, thank you. Finally, I'd like to thank the Minnesota Wilderness Organization. Their patience, their help, and their willingness to work with us as Coach Madsen led his team to a playoff appearance, and then ultimately with our timeline to name a new head coach. Today is a great day to be a Saint as we introduce Coach Madsen. When we started this process, we knew there was a solid foundation in place and a great group of young men coming back. Coach Madsen is someone who we believe can lead this program to new heights, and that's the goal anytime you bring in someone new. It's not to only where you have been, but where we want to go. He has a genuine passion for the sport of hockey, and his energy and excitement is just what our program needs. Everyone I talked to throughout this process, when I talked about Tim, talked about him as a person first, the high character that he'll bring to this position. Everything that he has will be poured into his family, and ultimately this position as our head men's hockey coach. Everywhere Coach Madsen has been, he has won. As a player, he led his team to the Minnesota State High School League Championship at Elk River. He was also a captain at Division I Niagara, where he led a team to a national tournament appearance. He won a Robertson Cup in 2009 as an assistant with the St. Louis Bandits. And for the past 2 seasons as the head coach, he led the Minnesota Wilderness to back-to-back playoff appearances. We are fortunate to have Tim, his wife Ellen, 12-week-old baby Jack, join the St. Scholastica family today. With that, I'd like to introduce our new head men's hockey coach, Tim Madsen.
Can't thank everybody enough for showing up today, showing your support for the program, the athletic department. Jack is actually a 2036 CSS commit. He'll be the starting centerman in 2036, so let's see if I'm still here. Get some playing time. Again, I can't thank everybody enough for being here today. One of the big questions that I had that I think I would have asked if I was going for any job would be, do people care? Do they care about hockey? Do they care about the program? Do they care about athletics? By everybody that's been here today, it's pretty impressive, and it shows that a lot of people care about the program. I'd like to thank Dr. Geary, Steve Lyons, Brian Jamros, obviously, the search committee, the entire athletic department, for allowing my family and I to be a part of your family. When I was on the interview meeting with, I probably met 100 people that day, and I asked some questions to some coaches that coach here in other sports. I'm like, why have you been here for 19 years? Why have you been here for 12 years? And everybody said the same thing. They're like, we love this place. It's the people. And I got that same feeling when I spent 10, 12 hours here a couple weeks back for the interview. I got the same feeling, and I'm just absolutely so impressed with every single person that I came across. Most impressive to me was the players. I walked in to the meeting with the players on the interview day, and I said, guys, I'm not going to drop any systems. I'm not going to talk hockey necessarily. I said, we got 1 hour right now for you to get to know me and me to get to know you. And I felt really good, really, really good after walking out of that meeting. Just looking into their eyes, I think those guys are hungry and eager to get going here in the fall, and I obviously feel the same way too. Our goal is to compete. Our goal is to compete consistently for league championships and at the national level. So my job as the leader of the program is to not sleep until we're doing that. So that excites me. I'm a competitive person. I know our players are competitive, both in the classroom and on the ice. When you look at our team GPA from last season, and it all excites me so much to be here today. I hope you guys understand and can see it in my eyes how excited I am to be here today. We're going to serve the community, we're going to serve on campus, and we're going to win hockey games. And these guys are going to do a great job in the community. The team GPA is going to continue to be where it's at, and it's going to hopefully surpass where it's been. But I can't thank you enough for everybody showing up today. Thank you.
All right, questions? Questions? Tim.
Tim, Matt Wallace from the News Tribune. What is it about this job for you that stood out the most, that said, this is the head coaching job you want to go after?
Well, I had left Division I hockey as an assistant coach to get head coaching experience at the junior level, so I could set myself up to be a head coach back at the college level. So just career-wise, it's natural to do some research and look into jobs that you can be a head coach at the Division III or Division I level. And I live closer to this campus than I do Northwoods Credit Union or even Cloquet as well. So, just the opportunity to get back into college athletics. And I'm familiar with the roster that they have coming back. And they got an opportunity to do some pretty special things here. So that was very attractive.
You're a D1 guy. The D3 route, what is it that appealed to you to come to this level instead of maybe holding out and waiting for another D1 job?
Well, for me, hockey's hockey. I'm sure some of these guys, if they maybe got a lucky bounce or two, maybe they would have played Division I hockey. For me, hockey's hockey, and I know there's good student athletes and good hockey players on the roster right now. And for me, it's just, as a coach, you're a teacher, and you're developing these guys on the ice, you're developing them for life after hockey, and that's what's appealing. I've heard a lot of good things about the roster and the character people that are on the rosters. That really excites me.
What's one of your biggest goals as you enter this season, Coach?
Well, I'm going to wake up every morning wanting to win a national championship. That's the way I think. That's who I am. As I said, our goal is to consistently, every single year, compete for the league championship and compete on the national level. That's why we're here, and that's why we're in athletics. That's why we're all competitive people. And I said it during my interview in a couple of the meetings. When the job became available, I didn't really know much about it. I didn't really do a whole lot of research on it. And I came across an article or an interview with Brian, and Brian talked about wanting to win a national championship in men's hockey, and he talked about wanting to compete nationally. And I said, I want to work for that guy. Then I started researching the job, and I applied for the job, and obviously we're here today.
Tim, obviously with the wilderness, you can have a short amount of time with those guys. Now you get years to work with these guys. What's kind of appealing about that to you?
It's very appealing. I think both my years with the Wilderness, we had 3 or 4 returning players both years, so you had to rebuild the roster each year. Just relationships, you know. At the junior level, you can get to know a kid, you can make a difference in the his life. But then after the 8-9 months, maybe you get a text message every once in a while. You know, you don't really build that solid relationship that you could build when you know a student athlete for 3 or 4 years. So for me, I love relationships, and I love communication, and I love getting to know the kids, and I love being able to help them in hockey and outside of hockey.
Tim, what'd you learn in that head coach's chair the last 2 years at the Wilderness that maybe, you know, you didn't realize was there during those years as an assistant at Niagara?
It's a great question, and that's why I left to get head coaching experience, so I knew what it would feel like to have those questions come across my desk. You know what? I learned that you still have to communicate with people, your assistant coaches, your scouts, obviously your assistant coach in college, your administrators. You have to communicate with everybody and make sure everyone's on the same page. You know, at the end of the day, the decision's yours, but you can gather so much information before you make a decision. And I think that's what I learned. I'm not afraid to pick the phone up and call an NHL head coach, and they'll call back. Those guys are good guys, and a lot of hockey guys are really good guys. And I did that 2 years ago. I called an NHL head coach, and he had called me back 2 days later, and we talked about some stuff that our team was going through, and he actually helped, gave me some ideas to get through it. So I just think knowing that you have resources out there to gather information before that final decision.
It's a big hockey area up here. What would you say is most important about recruiting local guys to get here to St. Scholastica?
Well, you want guys that want to be here. You want student athletes that want to do well in school, be a part of the campus community, and obviously be a part of the program. But I think the school sells itself. Obviously, it's a really good academic college. It's just gorgeous. I just brought my wife here today for the first time. I've been to campus a few times. We pulled up, she goes, oh my gosh. And we both are alumni of a small private Catholic school in upstate New York at Niagara University, and it's very similar size, but we were just like, oh, the place is beautiful. So you sell the education, you sell the campus, you sell the great program that we have that has a really good reputation. Those are the three big sellers.
Tim, do you think it's important for this program to have success to tap into not just the local talent here in this area, but all of Minnesota? I mean, we saw that D1 program down the road has had some pretty good success doing that the last few years.
Yeah, it's obviously the first place we're going to look is our backyard. Starting in the 218, going right down to the cities. You know, with that being said, it's really, really important to me. It's going to be really important to our staff to bring in student athletes that really, really want to be here. And don't want to beg kids to come here. I think if you beg kids to come here, then you're getting the wrong mix of people. We want people that really want to be here, really want to be a part of our campus community and a part of the program and be part of something special.
What was it that allows you to attract some pretty good talent to the Wilderness from this area, from the state of Minnesota? I feel like in your 2 years, that was something that kind of stood out to me, was you're getting a lot of some pretty good local kids playing there.
Yeah, it's a good program. You know, you're related to the St. Scholastica men's hockey program. They both programs have very good reputations. And I think the northern Minnesota players out there right now, they know that this is a good program. You know, and our job is to take it from being a good program and make it a great program. And that goes through the consistency of competing for championships every single year and getting to the national stage. That's our goal.
Brian, for you, was it important to have someone with some deep Minnesota ties in this position?
Yeah, and I think you guys will be able to hear me. I can project loud enough. My staff will attest to that. But absolutely, I mean, I think anytime you go through a process, you know, I'm a local guy, so obviously it's not something that we said if he's not local, we're not looking at him. We did a national search for this, as everybody in this room is aware. It just, you know, so happens when you're looking for a hockey coach, a lot of our folks that we narrowed in were from the region, Midwest, or from, you know, the state of Minnesota. And so I don't think it was on purpose, but it certainly is not something that we didn't know was happening as we went through the process.
Tim, we used to see Mark Wick hanging around your locker room down in Northwoods Arena a lot, talking to players. What is it you maybe learned and saw from him observing this program your last 2 years in town?
Well, I bet he's very passionate about the program. You know, obviously been here for a long time and has some ties to the program. And, I always thought he was very respectable when he was in public and worked really hard at trying to enhance the program. I think he was very passionate about the program.
What areas would you like to build off of what Mark did the past few years?
You know, I don't really know a whole lot of the details. I haven't really had any one-on-one meetings with the players about how things were done around here, but what I do know is there's going to be a lot of change. I respect what's been done here. It's a good program, it's respected, but there's been a change, and with change is going to be change. And I'm really excited to do things the way that I want to do them and that I think they should be done. And I think the players are going to be really excited too to see some of the things that we do this year that are going to be a little bit different.
Can you speak to some of those changes?
Well, with any change, obviously there's going to be change. Just from a culture standpoint, trying to think of a good example for you. You know, maybe if the team on game day, maybe if every player has to show up at 4:30 on game day, maybe they show up at 5 o'clock now. Maybe that's when they have to be at the rink. Maybe we do things a different way on the road. Maybe instead of leaving at this time and eating at this time on the road, maybe we leave a little bit later so the guys can get a class in, or maybe they can eat here, or maybe they can eat at home. Just there's going to be different. A lot of things are going to be different. I couldn't, obviously from a hockey standpoint, systems, the way the personnel is used, that's all going to be different as well. So I can't get into too much detail with it because I'm not really there yet, but there will be change.
Well, hockey season doesn't start for a few more months, so what now? What's next?
Geez, I want to start yesterday. Need to get to know the current student athletes. Need to get to know the players that are coming in this fall, and we'll probably bring in another, maybe 1 or 2 players. Maybe we won't bring any. We still have to evaluate that as a staff. But just getting ready, getting the lay of the land, making sure you get to know everybody that's in this room on a personal level, everyone that supports the program and the athletic department. Finding out where my office is, getting my keys made for the rink, just getting things in order so we can get things rolling right when school starts, because I'm really excited for it, and I know that the student athletes on the team are too.